This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Lisa Curry, and all good ideas end with injuries, is what we figured out. Just kidding, they're bad ideas. I'm leaving it in. We got a website idea that's hilarious. We also have 2 injury-field stories. Can you dance on glass when bare feet for 40 minutes? I don't know, but I'm going to think about it for the rest of time. Here we go, Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. I am very, very, thank you. It's a good tagline. Very happy to have your guest this week, Lisa Curry. Yay.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. Better now that you're here. Thank you for doing it.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is super fun.
We always like to start and give our guests good ideas first so that people don't think you've only had terrible ideas. So, Lisa Curry, very funny comedian. You actually, this is interesting because I feel like when we first met was kind of when you were doing this big European tour that you did for like 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
I
I think because I
like...
went over there twice, and I think that we met maybe when I went over there just to the UK.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
In 2018?
It might have been a little bit before that, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I just remember that was something so cool I thought you were doing, that you were spending a lot of time working over there, which you ended with recording Alive for a While, which is your album that went number 1 on the comedy charts. Amazing. And really kind of a cool, everyone here is like, should I do it where I'm from or should I do it in this other city? And you're like, I want to do it in another country, which is so cool. But separate from that, you've been a writer for Comedy Central, True TV, NBC. You wrote for the Jim Jeffries show. You have a podcast called Long Story Long, which is on SiriusXM or was on SiriusXM. You've had plenty of good ideas. So I think, so feel good about yourself.
I don't know if
right
my
now.
podcast is a good idea. Monica, it's a lot of work.
Oh, well,
I'm not getting paid for it.
This is a show. This is a show about bad ideas that could itself be a bad idea. So it's confusing. Podcasting. So we just want to make sure you feel good about yourself right
now. I think so.
Okay.
I think so. We'll see. I'm not sure if this whole career is a good idea. I mean, is it? What are we doing?
No, I don't know. Well, and that's the fun part about it, is we might never know if it's good or not. It is one of the careers where you would be maybe 20 years in before you go, yeah, I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
So whatever. I've had fun. Have you had fun?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. But it feels like suspended. That's not the word I'm looking for. Arrested Development.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what it feels like the title of the show, Arrested Development. Like I'm still a teenager.
Yeah.
In a way.
It does feel juvenile at times. So whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, bad idea. We're not sure. We'll let you know. Check back in 20 years. All right. So what I sent you, kind of the idea, the criteria for the bad ideas. What did you think of first?
It's hard to say. I because I've just had an unending string of bad ideas. I have what I call all the time inventions, and I'll get really high and I call my friends and I'm like, I've got an invention idea. And invention in my mind just means I have an idea. Okay.
Like I invented something. Okay.
Most often an invention is something else I need someone else to help me execute. I remember years ago, I never watched The Jersey Shore.
Okay.
But I thought it was just such a brilliant play on words that so there was Snooki, and then there was this influx of crazy women that, well, I'm comfortable calling them crazy, that looked and dressed and aspired to be like
Oh,
Snooki.
yeah. That was definitely a trend for a while.
Mostly like in the Midwest and the like Florida area.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah.
And so I bought the web domain. I bought snookalike.com. Okay. And I thought I'm going to get a lot of people to find people that look like her in the wild, and what I've called snookalikes, because I was like, what a brilliant play on words. And I thought people are going to submit these photos and then I'm going to get rich. It didn't happen.
Well, what? Okay. I'm impressed that you bought the domain. It wasn't just like...
I'm ashamed.
I mean, there was at least some commitment. Did you do anything? Like, did you actually like set up a way for people to share the pictures or anything? Or were you...
I pretty much just told a few people that were like, no.
You guys be on the lookout. I
tried to get my mom involved because she lives in Florida, and we've always had a rocky relationship, and I would say that wasn't a good part. That wasn't a time when our relationship was solid.
Okay.
You were like, so that was
I
weird.
Need something from you. Can you?
Super weird to ask.
Yeah.
To ask of somebody that I hadn't gone to see for Christmas in 15 years.
You're like, I know we struggle sometimes, but I really want to mend our relationship by looking for Snookies.
If you listen, you're in Tampa.
You're in Tampa.
This is a gold mine. And she was like, I don't think it is. And I was like, God, I can't believe my mom's already shooting down my ideas. Here we are trying to repair this relationship.
See, this is why we don't get along. Because it has the same feel as like the People of Walmart blog, you know, like when they just take pictures and put it over there. So I could see how people would enjoy looking at it, honestly.
Right. But then also like me now, I mean, that was years ago, and me now, I'm like, oh, I would never post pictures of somebody right on the internet. That's so rude.
I mean, I think
what
about
the fuck?
As a younger person, I would sometimes try and like take pictures of people when they didn't know. You know how they have those like airplane passenger shaming ones and stuff like that, like take pictures of people's feet when they're out and stuff. I feel so awkward by that now. Like the idea of like taking a picture of someone that they don't know is like really creepy and not like...
Yeah. Although I will say, and I do not feel regret for is I was on the train somewhere in Europe a couple years ago, and someone was clipping their fucking toenails on the train, and I took a video of not their face, but the clipping of the toenails.
I think
and I was like, this is unacceptable.
Right, that's a little bit better.
I should have turned them into the police, honestly. Like, that was so fucked up.
That is disgusting. And why?
It's also Europe. The train is nice. You're not on a Greyhound bus. If I was on a Greyhound bus, I'd be like, okay, I paid $4 for this ticket. What do I expect? Yeah. You know, at least no one's giving birth on this fucking
That's
thing,
true. I've taken quite a few Greyhounds or mega buses or whatever, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was clipping theirs. I think what bothers me the most about it is like, why couldn't you just wait until the train? You know what I mean? Like clipping your nails isn't going to make that much of a difference in the next 3 hours or whatever. Just put your shoe on. But they were like, nope, got to do it now. But not before, not after. Need to do it on the train. Well, and that's different than because their face wasn't in it either. So it's fine that you did
and I'm
that.
like, really,
I don't know why.
Truly, my fan base is in the United States. My fan base. People who follow me on socials are mostly in the U.S. Right. So, you know, some rando on the way to Amsterdam from Berlin.
Oh, right. Wouldn't ever see
And also they deserve it. I'm just going to say again, they deserve it. Like you shouldn't have your like feet out and about anyway, but clipping your toenails is
your feet out and
you've
about.
Crossed a huge line. It's not like a vague gray area, you know?
Yeah. Feet are gross anyways. All right. Moral of the story, don't clip your toenails on the train. Okay, so snookalike.com. You get your foot out.
Speaking of.
Yeah. You know what's odd? This is the second time we've had a guest put their foot into the camera.
Oh, that brings me to another bad idea.
Okay.
I do.
Is it a foot thing?
While I am making fun of. Sorry, I keep moving around. If you can't handle flashing lights, don't watch this. Because it's right next door to that. Another bad idea. I really like to be barefoot. I mean, I wouldn't be barefoot on a public train, but I did take my shoes off at a Motorhead concert once. That probably wasn't a great idea.
Like just where was it, indoors? Like what was the venue?
Yeah, it was at the House of Blues, and I just was like,
so you had your feet off and feet off.
Wearing
you took
like
your feet
heels
off
for some reason.
Okay.
I just like was excited to have a night off, and so I dressed up, and then I was like, heels were a bad idea, so I just took my shoes off, and my friend Kim was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
So you just bare feet in like a bar, basically, just on.
Oh yeah.
Did you? Ew.
And I took off my shoes one other time, Monica. This is really, I shouldn't shame anyone. I have no business shaming anyone that takes their shoes off. Because one time I went out, so I used to work at Hard Rock Cafe years ago, and I say that for context because the people that work there are, we'll say, a special breed of human.
Okay.
They're just like broken in a really specific way, and this guy that one of the employees knew was like DJing, or his band was playing or some shit at some like really hot club in LA, like some place that you had to have a password to go in, like some secret password.
Orgy.
And I had a crush on this guy, and none of us, we had no business being there. This whole group had, like, I mean, this is a place where like for like really hot people, like pointy faced models, you know?
Okay. That sounds like a terrible place, but yeah.
Yeah. So we go in, and there's like a little dance floor area, and it has this like really beautiful rug on it, and we're dancing, and I'm getting drunk, and like this guy isn't paying attention to me, so I'm getting more drunk because that's the solution to like not getting the attention you want.
Be in my own
when you're
world.
like, you know, in your early 20s, you're like, maybe if I'm more drunk, he'll think I'm hot.
Maybe if he has to pick me up off the floor, he'll notice me. Yeah.
Maybe if I make a scene and embarrass everyone.
We'll get it.
So
someone's
I'm
attention.
Like dancing, and again, I decided it's time to take my shoes off. And here's the thing, like in my mind, I used to justify it because I'm like, well, I hate when people like will wear heels and then they complain about them. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to complain about them. I'll simply take them off.
Take them off.
That's the more polite solution.
Yeah.
So I take my shoes off, and I'm dancing, and I'm completely wasted, and just probably dancing alone and terribly on this rug. And I'm going for a little while, and my feet start to hurt. And I was like, the fuck? I don't know why my feet are hurting. I've already taken off my heels. It's like my feet should be done hurting now. I should be past the hurt.
I figured that out.
You know, you relate. You know, when you're taking your shoes off in a bar. And so I'm like,
I mean, honestly, I have done that before. But
yeah. I can't count the number of times I've taken my shoes off in public. I'm trying to curb that.
Okay. At least you're being honest, I guess. Accepting it is the first step there.
I guess I've cut off my shoelessness on public transportation. So like that's no longer an issue for me. So I'm like dancing, and my feet are hurting, and I'm like, God, what the fuck, dude? I like, how tight were these heels that like my feet still hurt? But whatever, I'm drunk, so I'm still dancing, still trying to get this guy's attention, by which I mean, like, you know, just like flailing around drunkenly, not looking at him, certainly not.
Still make eye contact.
Yeah.
Or conversation.
And my feet are hurting more and more, and then they feel sticky, and I'm like, the fuck? What is up with this dump of a place that here I am on this nice rug? This is what's going on in my head. I'm on this nice rug barefoot, and it's sticky. Do they not clean this fucking rug is what I'm thinking. And my feet start hurting more, and then go and I sit down and look at my feet, Monica, and it turns out I was dancing on broken glass. and my feet were fucking bleeding. Bleeding.
I mean, I had a feeling that was what was happening, but the amount of time, at least in the way you told the story, that you just continued to dance on glass.
It was probably 40 minutes. It was a long
Did you say 40 minutes?
Because I was just so hammered. I was like, there's no way anything. I obviously haven't done anything wrong. I just want you to remember we shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? We're trash. And so this girl, Molly, I worked with, comes over. She was like training to be an EMT. So she goes and gets one of the cocktail waitresses who looks like fucking Cindy Crawford. Like, she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. I was like,
hey, my friend's feet are bleeding everywhere.
Okay. A first aid kit, and Molly is like the nicest girl ever, but like she's the antithesis of the girls that work there, like covered in tattoos, face piercings, crazy hair, and she's like binding my feet up. And here's the crazy thing. I mean, that all is crazy, but the group is like, well, you know, Lisa's feet are bleeding. We have to go. Yeah. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. And they're like, absolutely fucking not.
You just danced on glass for 40 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. And I just like was so determined to not be a burden, which I don't know.
I was a little late at that point, like, but yeah.
None of this, huh? What's up?
So it was a little late at that point to not be a burden.
Yeah, but like it wasn't checking in my brain. No. I was like, I've done this to myself, and only I'm bearing the responsibility of all of the embarrassment, which is not true. If my friend's feet were bleeding and we were in public, I would be very embarrassed.
Yeah. And concerned. I'd be like, we have to go. You can't continue to, you're going to get infections. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Lots of problems. Floor. So you know what I do? So Molly binds up my feet and I stuff them back into my heels.
Oh my God. That has to be the most I'm like, I have
to get back to getting my dignity somehow. Well, my feet are in these goddamn heels. And everyone's hungry, and I'm like, I'm game for food. I feel fine. Let's get food.
It's like I'm getting, like sympathy pains in my feet listening to this. You put them back into the shoes, which this whole thing starts because your feet hurt from the shoes in the first place. So now to fix the situation, you're like, what if I cut the shit out of my feet and then put them back in the shoes? That'd be great.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I don't know if you'll even believe this part, but the guy never noticed me while we were
That's incredible too, actually. I mean, he would have at least noticed in some way, in my mind, not a positive way, but yeah.
Bloody stumps. So we make the judgment call to get dinner. Why not? The night is young. Yeah, because we've left the club early.
There's no emergencies being had. It's fine.
No. So we go to Swingers. And we sit in that back booth, and we're all packed in there. And I decide, because this is like, we'll say, I'm still learning about my body.
Okay.
And I think I am beyond wasted. I'm like the kind of wasted where like you're kind of opening one eye to see, and I'm like, and my feet are bound up in these, and I walk into Swingers like a deer on ice, just kind of like wobbling, and sliding. And I order a water, and to soothe my stomach, Monica, I order split pea soup.
Just a late night split pea soup.
And I eat it, and everything is fine, I guess, as fine as it can be. And then my friends were driving me home, we were passing the bowl right by where you go, because I lived in the valley at the time. We were passing the Hollywood Bowl, like where you go to merge on the 101, and I had an emergency and had them pull over so I could vomit. But before they even pulled over, I had to open the door. By the way, this is my own car that somebody else is driving now.
Nice.
And I'm just puking out the door, down the side of the car, just split pea soup. Yeah, and then I guess I went to bed. I don't we didn't talk about it much after that.
That is amazing. Well, I feel like there's parts of this story that are bad ideas by themselves, and then it was all one story. Like, that was incredible. When you woke up the next day with your feet in the condition that they were in, did you remember what had happened, or were you like, what the fuck happened to my feet?
I don't remember now what I thought then, but I imagine my first thought, knowing my headspace at the time, I imagine my first thought was wondering what that guy was up to. And if he thought I looked cute.
Oh God, that's not good.
Yeah, that was a massive bad idea. And I could pretty much say I can trace a lot of injuries to just deciding to take my shoes off. And I'm like, I'm in my 30s and I'm learning now, but I haven't learned
in the process,
you know.
Yeah. Don't stop taking your shoes off. I do that. I mean, that would be if we were just making like a chart, just real quick bullet points. Taking your shoes off in a bar does seem to go in the bad category, but this would be the horror story, you know, that they, like, your mom would tell you and be like, don't ever take your shoes off in the bar because you'll step on glass, which is pretty true. But you're like, no, what they don't tell you is that you won't notice, I guess, and then continue to just dance on it for 40 minutes.
I also love that my line of thought throughout the whole thing is like, I can't believe this place is such a dump, you know, like
they'll let anybody in here.
Needless to say, never went back. So pretty much have only gone to each nightclub in LA once because of some incident
where you take off your shoes. Oh shit, that one. I don't know why the visual of you just continuing to dance while you're just on glass and you're like, this feels weird, but I'm just gonna keep going. It makes it, because okay, the two outside perspectives I think is funny is someone noticing that you're just dancing on glass and being like, I don't think that bitch knows she's dancing on glass with her bare feet, and then you in the diner after. And someone just seeing you very drunk, eating soup, with gauze wrapped around your feet. And you're just like, just a good time for soup here.
Just really craving soup right now. Like,
there could be photos that someone secretly took of you during that evening.
Sure. And you know what? They would be right for doing that. Like, if I ever saw them surfacing, I would be embarrassed, but I don't know that I'd be angry. I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would, if I saw you. I do think now, I mean, maybe not in a place like that because I'd probably feel pretty uncomfortable. But now I feel really bad for people. So I would be like, hey, you know you're dancing on glass, right? Just want to make sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, you're okay with that? Okay. You're good. Oh, it was a problem with your heels. I understand. Yeah.
Just didn't know if you knew that it was glass. It was glass that you're dancing on there. No. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was amazing. Okay. We might have time for one more bad idea if you have one.
Oh, fuck. I don't know if I have anything that tops that.
I don't know if anything so far that I've heard could top that.
I mean,
just the continued dancing is going to live in my brain forever.
There's so many. It's like, I don't know if anything will top that, but I don't know. I've injured myself a lot trying to do daredevil-y shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You jumping off stuff or what? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, there was this bridge I used to go down on my bike, and one side of the bridge had like a curve in the ramp, and I tried to take it on my bike without my brakes because I thought that that would be like
Cool.
more badass
Yeah.
or something. And so I it wasn't like a curve, it was like an angle. It was like a sharp angle. And so I came down my bike and I didn't turn fast enough, and so I ran directly into the bar and flipped off of it and blacked out. So
shit.
that was another bad idea. But here's the problem, and I don't know if this is categorized as a bad idea or a good idea. I then continued to do that because I was like, well, now I can't let the bridge win. Like, I have to conquer this.
I think there are some more deep-seated issues coming with some of these ideas. I can't let the bridge win. Like, well, I'm glad you made it out alive. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, that was the only time I flipped over it and blacked out.
So every other time you're like, this was a success, technically. This is good.
Yes. Anytime I injure myself, but I don't concuss myself,
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, unless you fully black out, you're like, let's go get dinner. I'm good.
That's the thing. If I have at least one eye open throughout the experience, then I'm like, obviously this was fine.
We're good.
No notes.
I did do probably some stupid things when I was younger on my bike. That's an interesting thing. I don't think I've thought about. I tried to close my eyes one time while riding the bike, which I genuinely don't know what my plan was. Like, I don't know. And you'd think like, okay, I'm going to close my eyes while I'm riding my bike. I'm going to make sure I'm going straight. I don't know what happened. I think I took my hands off the handlebars too, because that was popular when we were kids. Like, I can ride my bike and hold my hands. Like, I don't need to steer it, whatever. And so I closed my eyes and took my hands off the handlebar and then ran directly into like a tent trailer that somebody had next door to the house, nice. Like just straight into it. But I think the idea of being like, yeah, I'm just going to close my eyes while I'm driving a vehicle. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've for sure have done that. A bunch. I mean, like, I think that I was always also like when I was a kid. So I have two older brothers that are like 8 and 9 years older than me. And so everything I did that was bicycle related was to impress them. Like, I would take all this scrap wood out of the garage and build ramps, and I'd be like, look at me, like I can jump this ramp. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much everything was to impress my brothers, which not a great idea because they were also like major daredevils.
Well, I was gonna say, because I have one older brother that's 9 years older than me, and I felt very similarly where I wanted him to think I was cool. But now as an adult, I'm like, that guy's an idiot. Why did I want him to be impressed? Like, I mean, I love him. He's great. But still, it's like, but yeah, I used to build jumps.
Also so scary to think like, oh, all kids are doing that.
I know. I have a
so like, what are my
and
nieces and nephews going to do?
Exactly. And then you're like, that's why there's like these hyper vigilant parents now, is because we know what the fuck we were doing. We're like, knock it off.
I know, the fact that I made it out of childhood alive is actually crazy. Like, even when I blacked out on that bike thing, when I flipped over, I remember coming to, and my dad was running up to me and he's like, are you okay? And he's like, or no, I think he like checked at me first, and then he's like, all right, you're okay, because he didn't want me to cry. And so I just like got up and I was like, yeah, I'm fine.
I'm fine. That's totally fine. Just lost consciousness there for a brief moment, but I'm good now.
Right? But
I can't believe you're asking. That's so. There's something about shame or like embarrassment that goes into that too. Because I jumped out of a truck once and my foot got stuck, and so I landed directly on my head. Yeah.
No.
And then I just got up and ran, like just like kept playing. I was just like shaking off a concussion, just ran because I didn't want anybody to think I was. I saw all the parents, like when I got up, they were all like, like that. And I just stood up, and I remember standing in between the truck, and like my head just felt like it was going like this. And I was just like, no, I'm good. Just playing tag. Not a big deal. But there is something about being like, no, I'm fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
When you just blacked out.
Here's another bad idea I had. I don't know how much time you have, but this was one that resulted in injury, not to myself though.
Oh, nice.
When I was a kid, I remember I went to Florida to visit my cousin who wasn't actually my cousin. I don't know if you guys did that, but we had a lot of like cousins and aunts and uncles and shit that weren't our
That
family.
yeah,
We just called them
like,
that
this is
because
your
we're
aunt. Yeah, sure.
hillbillies.
Yeah.
And so I was visiting my cousin Megan, who's like 3 years younger than me, and she only had one bike and one pair of roller skates, and I couldn't fit into her roller skates. So I was like, I've got an idea. I was like, I'll ride the bike, you put on the skates, and then I'll tie a jump rope to the bike and you hang on to that and we'll swing around. And she was like, all right, because she wanted to be cool, like she wanted me to think she was cool,
right,
so like we're just passing this down. And so we were going through her yard, her neighborhood, and things were going fine for a while. And then I went into the cul-de-sac, and like, so I grew up with boats, so we would go tubing, and my brothers would drive the boat and like whip it around to like throw me off of the tube or whatever, and it was terrifying, way too harsh. And so I do that to Megan because I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. Now it's my turn to scare someone. And we whip around this cul-de-sac like as hard as I can, and she goes flying and like tumbles across the asphalt, rips up her whole legs. She's bleeding, she's crying, and I'm like, God damn it, now we have to stop. I'm so mad.
Megan, get the fuck up.
Anytime somebody got injured around me when I was a kid, I was always like, God, fucking stop crying.
Right, you're fine.
We're gonna get in trouble. So we go to her house. Her mom is livid. Her mom's like, what the fuck were you doing? She's like, do not do that again. Like, whatever. She bandages Megan up, and she's like, all right, go outside and play. Do not do that again. And we're like, all right. We go outside immediately, do it again.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like,
wow. From Megan's perspective, to be like,
we did not wait a minute. And I'm like, this time, I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, like, all right, I must have been going like I don't know if I thought I was some kind of scientist or something, because I'm like, all right, I think that, the speed and the torque and everything, it was a little too much this last time. So we're going to try it again. We're just going to dial it back. And turns out I didn't know the recipe. So I fucking whip around again, and there goes Megan again, like just tumbling.
Fucking poor Megan, my God.
Just like bandaged, scraped up again, bleeding all over. I'm like,
God,
you're in so much trouble. So much trouble.
That's wow.
I thought her mom was going to kill us, honestly.
I mean, as a parent, I would be so irritated if I was like, okay, I'm giving you the opportunity. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Megan doesn't seem like a real smart character in this story either, because she's like, yeah, let's try it again. I just got my legs ripped up. But
I will tell you now that we're all
right
adults,
about the torque. Yeah.
Not the brightest family I was dealing with.
Oh, well, special shout out to Megan. I hope your legs are okay.
She's done some modeling. She's fine.
Her. Nice. Okay. Legs specifically. Oh, those were amazing. I don't know why going into this I didn't anticipate injuries, but it was great.
Because I think you didn't anticipate it, because injuries usually are the sign of a good idea.
Fair.
I'm still not sure those were bad ideas. So
I mean, those were risks, and you don't ever get a reward if you don't take a risk. Yeah. How are you going to get anybody to notice you unless you dance on glass for 40 minutes?
Exactly.
Oh, Dancing on Glass. That's your next album name.
And people are going to be like, what a silly title.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a life experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still just how you're dancing on glass. Where can people find you if they want to follow you and check out your current album and soon to be?
In my home, mostly. I think you can find my album on Spotify, or if you want to buy it, I prefer you go on Bandcamp.
Okay, yeah.
Because I get higher percentage of the proceeds.
We'll put a link to that in the description.
Oh, thank you. And my podcast, Long Story Long, is wherever. It's on iTunes and a bunch of stuff.
You already found this one, so you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, and follow me on Instagram, please. I've been told I need to get my numbers up if I want to get an agent.
Okay, yeah. We'll send you'll get quick 3 followers from this. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Good.
No, it was amazing. Lisa, support her. She needs it. I'm just kidding.
I need Band-Aids.
Yeah, she needs to pay for her bandages. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're on YouTube, you can subscribe to the YouTube. We also have YouTube memberships for money a month. I'm very good at pitching this too. You get extra episodes. You get to see these episodes early. Yeah, there's full stand-up sets from me, including a brand new one that I filmed this weekend. So that'll be fun.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to check that out.
Oh, cool. Thanks. And then I will be in Los Angeles this week. Friday is at the Third Wheel Comedy Venue in East Hollywood. So you should come see me there and get tickets in advance before I freak out about it. So that'd be great. And then, yeah, if you're on Spotify, follow us, or Apple, subscribe, rate, review, all those things. We appreciate you. But right now, you can just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.